This is Reality Dispatch, written by Jim Mintz.
I wore my pink tie because Cynthia told me to. I wanted the blue, but she insisted. It was pretty, and it did match her dress. I guess this was her special day. We didn't want family or friends. It was strictly business. Just us and the registrar. We had written our own vows a week before, and we were rehearsing them each night over a bottle of red so that we could say them by heart. I don't know who we were impressing. The plan was simple. I stayed at my stepfather's house in Brooklyn, and she stayed at a girlfriend's in New Jersey. We were to meet up at City Hall at 1 o'clock. Our appointment was for 2, but we wanted to be early just in case. Now, I mentioned that her dress was pink, but it's not what you think. You see, we'd both been married before, and we wanted this to be a low-key affair. It was pink, but it was like a smart, casual pink, like a faded pink. It was beautiful. I had seen the dress, but I had not seen her in it yet, so I was very excited. I couldn't keep the smile off my face taking the A train downtown. Everyone was looking at me because it was clear I was either the groom or the best man. The smile on my face was a dead giveaway. It invited others to smile back, and smile back they did. I started to regret our low-key affair around about Houston Street. I wondered if I should have invited Terrence and Vincent. Maybe Darren. I was best man at his and Linda's, but they divorced not long afterwards. I guess I didn't want to rub it in his face, you know. "What time's your appointment, sir?" 2 o'clock. You filled out the registration forms? Yes. You've been assigned a registrar? Yes. Okay, please wait in the waiting room for your name to be called. Thank you. I did as instructed. Out-of-date magazines and couples sitting around them, holding hands and wearing their Sunday best. Some had brought with them a handful of family and friends, further adding to my regret. The clock ticked over. 1:30. 30 minutes gone in the blink of an eye. She was late. Not completely late. We still had 30 minutes. But we agreed to meet at 1. Where was she? Payphones. I remembered seeing a series of them down a flight of stairs nearest the family court entrance. I could go down and ring, but what if they were on the road? The phone would ring out. But maybe that's all I need to know. If she answers, that would be a problem. If she doesn't, I can rest easy. I made my way down the flight of stairs, past the lawyers, government workers, and underwatered plants that were dying from lack of sunlight. My polished shoes scuffing on the white walls as I brushed past. There was one phone available. What was Erica's number? There was no point. I'd never remember. I ran back upstairs in case Cynthia was there, wondering the same thing about me that I was about her. A man was sitting in my seat. It was the only one left with a double. I was hoping, picturing myself sitting there with Cynthia when she arrived. Who was he here to see? If I sat there, maybe he'd move by the time Cynthia arrived. Surely he's not here to be married? "Mind if I sit?" I asked, even though I didn't feel the need to. He shrugged. I sat there with my arms folded, and I could feel the wet patches forming underneath. They were like pools of anxiety. "She's not coming," he said to me. I shot him a look. "Excuse me?" I scolded. "Cynthia, she isn't coming," he said. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a Polaroid picture. He showed it to me. Cynthia was tied to a chair with duct tape over her new pink dress. There was tape over her mouth. She looked terrified. She looked about as terrified as I probably looked right there and then. "Marcello Divino says you owe him $10,000. I am here to make sure you get this message. At 8 o'clock tonight, another man just like me is going to pay you a visit to make sure you have the money. Then you will be able to see your precious bride-to-be." He stood up and placed the Polaroid back into his jeans pocket. "Best of luck, Slick," he said as he left the building. Where to go? Who to call? Where to get the money? I thought I had time. I thought he wouldn't try anything on my goddamn wedding day. I knew I owed the man, but surely even he treats marriage as a sacred vow. Was I kidding myself? Was I hiding behind this day to buy me time? Did I really think that would work? I asked myself these questions as I walked out onto 8th and 111th. I was going to the nearest First Union Bank. I was going to withdraw as much as I could in savings. I think there was about $1,500 in there, maybe slightly less. It was a start. I would spend the next 7 hours thinking about where to get the next 6 or 7 grand after I had my hands on the first layer of cash. I was surrounded by exercise enthusiasts. That's the only way I can begin to describe them. They all wore pink and tight lycra. They all had headbands and sweatbands on their wrists. They all danced around to the beat of an invisible drum. They swarmed me and only me. They surrounded my every movement. They were fixated like glue. I couldn't shake them. I didn't notice them at first, but the more that arrived, the more I knew I was swarmed. I thought it was the Divino crew. But they were laughing amongst each other. "Get the fuck away from me," I cursed. I pushed one of them back with force, but another came over and took his place, dancing all sorts of dance moves around me, exercise-style dance moves, blocking my movements, blocking the sidewalks. I screamed. People who weren't part of the mob were staring at us. "Get away from me," I yelled. "Just go with it, man. We're harmless," one of them whispered, clearly weary of my hostility. "I am not harmless. Get away from me." "Just relax, my man," I chose him. My fist clenched, and I swung at him with force I knew I harbored but had never unleashed. He hit the sidewalk with force. He wasn't moving. The joke was over. The lycra wearers stopped. They crowded around their fallen. They looked to me. "What the hell is wrong with you?" One of them yelled. "What the hell is wrong with you?" I screamed back. I had no time for this. I marched on to the bank. The clock was ticking. "He's fleeing the scene," I heard one of them yell. I kept marching. I was determined to let nothing stop me. Not an improv mob. Not anyone. I reached the top of the stairs and I briefly wondered on the state of the man I had punched. I didn't see him move after he hit the sidewalk. An ambulance rang out in the distance. Good, I thought to myself as I entered.
For more stories of fact-based fiction, head to jimmins.substack.com.